All right. Good evening to everyone who is joining us from India. Good afternoon to all our Middle Eastern, European, and African folks. And good morning to everyone who has joined us from the West. We are live right now, and I can see many of you all have started streaming in on YouTube. And for all of those who have joined on this call and dialed in this meeting, if you can let us know in the chat as to which city are you dialing in from. If you can put up on the chat which city are you dialing in from. We have students joining in from Hyderabad, Ahmedabad in India, from Vijayawada in Andhra Pradesh, people from the north from Delhi, Ahmednagar in Maharashtra, from the south from Bangalore, Karnataka, from Delhi, Mumbai, from all the metropolitan cities of India. Thank you so much everyone for joining in for this session today. I am Moin Naik and I am representing Seed Global Education today. We are a higher education firm based out in the United Kingdom, and we help high potential students in making their dream of studying either an MBA or a business master's a reality. And today, for the next 60 odd minutes, we have got an interactive session on generative AI in the classroom, and we would be exploring this with Carlson School's expert faculty today. University of Minnesota Carlson School of Management was founded in 1919 and is a leading business school located in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Known for its innovative approach to business education, Carlson offers a wide range of undergraduate, graduate, and executive programs. Carlson is highly regarded for its emphasis on experiential learning and its strong connections to the business community. Carlson School's top employers include major companies such as 3M, Target, General Mills, Deloitte, PwC, United Health Group, and Cargill. Today, artificial intelligence is becoming a dominant force in the world of business. We have various tools such as ChatGPT, DALI, different other tools such as Blackbox, Gemini, etc. The understanding and use of these AI tools are a vital skill set which many top companies are currently seeking for. This is where a program like University of Minnesota Carlson School of Management's MSBA can assist you. Today, we would be learning about understanding generative AI, future trends in education, challenges and ethical consideration, and the various programs and opportunities. But before we begin, we have a short poll question for you, which I would be taking live right now. Yeah, the poll is now live. If you can let us know what is your primary area of interest regarding generative AI. Do you think the business applications of generative AI are worth noteworthy, or the educational applications, the ethical and societal implications, or the technical aspects, or the development related aspects? Okay, we would be waiting for the next 10 seconds until all the responses come in. Last 5 seconds. All right. So around 50% of you all think that the technical aspects or the development aspects of generative AI is something which intrigues you the most. That's quite an amazing figure to look at. All right. With this, introducing our panel members for today's evening who are joining us today. First up, we have Ms. Susan Horn, who is the Senior Director of Admissions and Recruiting MBA and Master's Program at the Carlson School of Management, University of Minnesota. We are also joined by Dr. Liu, who is the Academic Director of Information and Decision Sciences at the Carlson School of Management. Dr. Liu is a Xiandong Eric Jing Professor of Information and Decision Sciences at the Carlson School of Management. His research interests include AI and augmented intelligence, gamification, and online social media platforms, with a focus on how human technology interaction designs affect engagement and outcomes. We also have with us Dr. Alok Gupta from the Curtis L. Carlson Schoolwide Chair in Information Management. He's a distinguished academic specializing in economic engineering of systems and human AI collaboration. Dr. Alok previously served as Senior Associate Dean of Faculty and Research and Chair of the Information and Decision Sciences Department at the Carlson School. He also holds a PhD in Management Sciences and Information from the UT Austin. Thank you so much for joining us, Susan, Dr. Liu, and Dr. Alok. With this, I now hand over the floor to Susan for taking forward the session.
Great. I'm just going to share my screen right now. And thank you all for joining us from all parts of the world. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to you. I lead the admissions team across our MBA and our master's programs. And I'm pleased to be able just to give you a high-level overview of what really distinguishes our MS in Business Analytics program from other programs in the marketplace here. One of those key items we'll dive into a lot more deeply in this session with our esteemed faculty colleagues here who've spent a lot of time really thoughtfully integrating and weaving AI into the curriculum. So I will let them explain that in a little bit more detail, but know that there's been a lot of great care and detail that's gone into that work to make sure that students who are in our one-year program are fully immersed. They're getting exposed to different tools. They're being thoughtful about the ethical use of how do I use these AI tools in the business world, and they're getting to apply them in real-world settings as we have experiential learning integrated throughout each semester of our program. On that front, we mentioned in the second section here on our slides here, that is a distinguishing factor of the Carlson program. So we have a 12-month program. Our program begins every year in the fall. So you'll be a student the fall, spring, and summer term. And unlike some other programs where you might be exposed to a project in your final semester of the program, we let our students really dive in. Really, we want that practical application to start happening right away, because that's really what helps set our students apart in the interview process. They know how to translate problems and communicate them effectively with clients, and they get that practice every semester that they're in the program through our Carlson Analytics Lab. What that looks like is through live cases, which are 3 to 4 week projects where you're kind of working with a client. That could look like, you'll also hear the words trends marketplace as a student in the MS and Business Analytics program, where you're kind of working on case studies, you're presenting your findings, you're getting judged by a panel of business leaders or industry stakeholders. And then our enterprise learning project. And this is really kind of the culmination. This is a semester-long project where you may be doing an exploratory analytics project or a predictive analytics project for a company. It could be a large company, it could be a nonprofit. We have had students work on projects for Sun Country Airlines, Land O'Lakes, Mall of America, and others. So you'll get exposed and be able to see what the options are for the projects to work on. I can proudly say that, my team, we are actually, our students are so strong with their analytics skills. We are actually having them dive into some of the data that our team has generated. So the admissions and recruiting team will be a client of the analytics lab and have our students working on admissions and recruiting data to help us draw some key insights that'll actually inform our practices. So, we have a lot of faith in our students. We know the quality of the work that they produce. And that's really something that helps set them apart in the job market among other folks who are kind of competing for those highly sought after roles. We'll dive into the AI and the curriculum piece. Again, program is 12 months, 45 credits in total. And if you're hoping to start the program this fall, so fall of 2025, there is still time to apply to the program. So I'll go to the next slide here. And just know that my team and we're happy to meet one-on-one individually. Some of you may have met with my colleague Garth already. He specializes in working with analytics students, but you can meet with anyone on our team. So we do have a couple of prerequisites that are listed here for the program. A calculus and a programming course are required at the time of application. So when you hit submit on your application, those items need to be completed. We offer a test optional option depending on what your undergraduate GPA is. So if you have a B equivalent or better, you can bypass that standardized test. And then we're really looking for candidates who are excited to dive into what our program offers and who are able to effectively communicate their goals. It's really helpful, especially in the job market right now, if you're coming into the program with some internship experience, if you are a direct from undergraduate candidate. Otherwise, we're looking for those kind of early career candidates to apply to and go through our program. So folks with 0 to 3 years of experience is typically our primary audience for this particular program. You can see the application deadlines that I've listed here. We've just passed our round 2 deadline, and so now we're moving on to the round 3 deadline, which is March 15th. So you would have plenty of time to apply to our program if you're hoping to start this fall. That March 15th deadline is the final deadline for international applicants outside of the United States. And I am pleased to share that we're also able to extend our guaranteed scholarship offer for anyone who is admitted in round 3. We were offering that for folks in round 2, and we're going to be able to extend that. So if you apply and you are admitted, you will receive some level of merit scholarshiping to the program. So that's exciting. Before I turn it over to our wonderful faculty members, I also just want to emphasize the career support that you will receive as a student in our program, as well as the strength of the alumni network. I will pop in the chat once I'm done sharing my slides, a link on our website that really does a great job of highlighting the detailed outcomes that our students have seen, as well as where our alumni have landed. So who's on our call, Dr. Liu has helped us in collecting some LinkedIn data for folks so we can actually really effectively see, okay, where have our alumni started and where are they now? So that really helps to tell the story of, you know, we're bringing people to our program here in the Twin Cities, which is really uniquely situated given the number of different types of companies and industries we have represented here. But then we're launching them back into the world in all of these different geographies. And our program has really helped those folks have, you know, certainly get their first job, but also have that mobility as they progress further in their careers as well. And so we have some of that information on our website of both companies where our alums have started and where they are now, as well as geographies. So you can kind of help to see how the program has really helped carry these folks through their trajectory. So we have a really strong alumni network across the country. Please reach out. You can see there's an email address linked here. I'll also pop some other links in the chat for scheduling one-to-ones and that career page. And I will turn it back over to my colleagues, and they can dive into the exciting part of the presentation that you're all here to learn more about with AI.
Is it my turn now?
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Susan. Yes, Dr. Alok, we can begin with your presentation.
Let's share my screen. All right, hello everyone. Welcome. My name is Alok Gupta. I am a professor at Carlson School. As Moin mentioned in his introduction, I've been there since 2001, so long time. I was the department chair when this program was started about 11 years back. And I was one of the architects of the program. It has changed a lot since then, and Professor Liu is going to talk about that after my presentation. But I want to mention one thing. This department and school has been a leader in information systems area and in the area of AI research. So while most of you have been exposed to AI related areas for maybe last 2-3 years since ChatGPT became well known, we have been doing research in this area for over a decade. So what I'm going to share with you today is beyond the technical aspects, uh, beyond the hype, what do we have in the program? Variety of different things that we also consider in various parts of the program. Most of this presentation is based on my research, but there are many other faculty that have contributed to the thought processes that have gone in this research. One other thing I would like to mention that I believe so much in this program that my own son actually went through this program and he graduated two years back and now he's working for Amazon Studios. So I do believe this is one of the best programs in and around the world for analytics, especially business analytics. And I hope many of you will consider this seriously. So AI is not actually new. It started almost 50 years back, the thoughts about AI or developing artificial intelligence started. But then there was AI winter, as we call it. Not much work happened after the initial attempts. And the reason for that is what we often now refer to as Polanyi's paradox. What is that paradox? Well, the early AI systems, what they tried to do was they tried to codify how we make decisions and try to base the systems on that. What changed with deep learning and neural nets is that and the Polanyi's paradox is that humans cannot articulate how we make decisions precisely. And so codifying it is really difficult. But with deep learning, what we can do is we can figure out how some of the best decisions were made. And so question is this a solution to Polanyi's paradox? I have a lot of thoughts about it, but I go back to this quote from Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan, for those of you who don't know him, was a scientist and a communicator. And he made science cool for people of my generation. He actually was on television, one of the first programs about science on television called Cosmos, and it was very, very popular. And he said, if you wish to make an apple pie from the scratch, you must first invent the universe. So while we talk a lot about intelligence, the question is really, do we understand what intelligence is? And so while we have embedded Gen AI in all the places in our program, we also take a view of what do we have to worry about when we incorporate Gen AI in our decision making. So, for example, just a couple of days back, many of you might have read this statement from Sam Altman from OpenAI, and he said that his kid will never be as smart as AI. But there are some things that might be valuable, but not the raw intellectual horsepower. Instead, he said a kind of dumb version of this of what would be important would be that the ability to ask questions will be more important than figuring out the answers. So AI will figure out the answers, but you'll have to ask good questions. So now one has to think about who can ask good questions. So let me start with an example. Now, this example data comes from old times when I was doing some consulting for some companies. And this data is about liquidating aging inventory. So it has some of the days, particular days, the price the item was being sold for, how much sales happened, And then it also has foot traffic. That is how many people had a look at the items. Now, one of the superpowers of Gen AI, as it is touted, is that it can replicate data for you. So when you don't have enough data, you give it some data and it can replicate a lot of data. So I asked Gen AI to create synthetic data based on 20 days of data. I asked it to create 100 days of data. Here's the prompt I gave it. And then it went about trying to generate synthetic data. Now, after the processing, it says the synthetic data generation process has resulted in unrealistic values for price, foot traffic, and sales in the projected 80 days beyond the original 20-day data set. This outcome indicates that model's extrapolation went beyond the reasonable bounds of data. Essentially, it wasn't able to create this data set. Now, as an expert, and I'm being a little presumptive, calling myself expert, but as an expert, I told it the data has a general declining trend over time, but also the foot traffic changes based on the day of the week. Please consider modeling foot traffic based on the day of the week and declining price over time. So as you can see, there was a specific prompt that I gave it to characterize the data. And based on that, it was able to create that response. Or it was able to create the data, which was pretty realistic because I do have the rest of the 80 days of data. And it matched quite well with the synthetic data. So here we can see that it can do the horsepower. It has the horsepower. It can generate the data, but it needs appropriate directions. Now, the question is, how would we be able to give this data if we are not doing anything? So if humans are not involved in the process, how would they be able to do this? So this generates what I call Borg's paradox and its impact. So what are Borgs? Borgs are individuals, people who think alike, who think like a computer, right? So while numerous studies have shown that working with the AI increases productivity, what research is also showing now is that over-reliance on AI can reduce unique human knowledge. What is unique human knowledge? It refers to the distinct and specialized knowledge that we possess, which is what Polanyi's paradox was about. So working with AI homogenizes human responses due to what we call anchoring effect. And this homogenization of response is what is Borg's effect, right? So everybody is thinking alike. There's no diversity in thinking. Now, this diminishing diversity of human perspective further diminishes long-term creativity and innovation. And it also adversely affects things like wisdom of crowds, which we know has a very positive impact on good decision-making because of the diversity of thought that humans have. So what is human AI complementarity? Well, in a sense, there are, when we talk about the modern AI, it finds what the best decision-making results were. But of course, the instances that it has to train on are not complete. They are not everything that humans can generate. Humans still have some distinctive ways of looking at data, and they might produce some interesting opportunities, especially when it comes to new scenarios, new data, new situations. So in those cases, complementarities might exist. Now, why is this important? This is important because if this human complementarity is not there, what happens is, or what can happen in the future is that next generation of AI will be trained with the data that is generated out of Gen AI, let's say, or AI will be going into this loop of training with data that it itself generated. And that has a huge negative impact. This in a few rounds of this feedback loop, we start having degenerative performance of AI. In fact, some of these researchers call it model autography disorder, which is analogous to mad cow disease, or basically saying that AI becomes irrelevant, mad. It starts more than hallucinating. So what's the solution? The solution for that we believe is to have a future of work where humans will work with AI. Now, how they should work with AI is really the question, and we anchor our courses in many of the courses in our program using that kind of thought process. Basically thinking about when to involve a computer and when should a human be involved in a decision-making environment. So just to share with you what happens to sort of motivate my final sort of point here is so in this research, what we showed was that AI, if you look at the red bars and yellow bars, basically they're showing that when humans work with AI, their complementarity decreases. That is, they start thinking more like AI. But it's not just they start thinking more like AI, even the complementarity between humans decreases. What it means is that humans no longer think differently, but they start thinking alike, right? So think about a world where everybody is thinking alike. What will happen then, right? But that's not just it. What happens is that people who are high performers, people who have high skills, actually get affected less than low performers. So I don't have time in 15 minutes to go over this data, but basically what this shows is that people who are low performers actually get negatively impacted even more by working with AI. Not for the cases where AI is right, but when AI is wrong, they're not able to distinguish it. So to sum it up, what happens is a Borg, a human that is assisted by AI, it beats a human. However, when many humans work together, they will beat a group of Borgs because they come up with unique knowledge. However, what also happens is AI, this is in this graph, what I'm showing is that the same type of result where the bottom line is showing that what happens to humans when they work together without AI. So as more and more people work together, their performance improves. People who work with AI, their performance is static and in fact goes down. However, when AI monitors your performance, it can actually decide whether to give you advice or not. And that's the best case scenario. In other words, humans working for AI perform better than humans working with AI. Right? So this goes to something that Oscar Wilde said a long time back. He, as many of you know, was a writer and a thinker, philosopher. He said civilization requires slaves. Human slavery is wrong, insecure, and demoralizing. On mechanical slavery, that is slavery of machines, the future of work depends. However, now maybe we are reaching a point where humans might become slaves of machine. Of course, we can avoid all this. There are ways in which we can organize work, and many of our courses will highlight these kinds of issues. So for example, there is expertise, but there is also something called meta-knowledge. That is knowledge about your own knowledge, or limitation, knowing about limitations of your own knowledge. And using these kinds of frameworks, we can think about when do we deploy AI and how to use AI for different kinds of scenarios. So for example, for people who are new, who don't have much information or knowledge, we can use Gen AI to train these people. But then how do we get to a place where we actually work with Gen AI, improve AI, as well as improve human capabilities? That's where what many of our courses will, and one of the courses that I'll teach will cover. So one of the most important but ignored aspect is this: what happens with people's understanding of their own knowledge. How do we improve that? There are a variety of different ways in which we can address that, and many of the courses will address that. Uh, More than anything, it's about learning. It's about learning what a particular situation, a problem-solving situation requires, so that you can ask good questions. So overall, my belief is that while there are a lot of things we can do in the future, we have to understand our limitations. And if we understand our limitations, then we can ask better questions, because we are not going to be overconfident about our own understanding. But also, we will pursue higher level of knowledge, which will make us ask better questions. We'll also focus a lot on AI ethics and AI design. Many of these things are at a very initial stage of thinking. So, for example, when we design an AI system, and if we put a singular objective of maximizing performance, many interesting things can happen where AI can actually destroy the environment we are trying to create. But if we think about a positive way of thinking about AI observing our capabilities and using that to advise us appropriately, we can design an environment where AI will allow us to maximize our capabilities. And that's sort of what we are striving for. So, in fact, when it comes to ethics, many of the leading thinkers now think AI might do a better job managing AI ethics than organizational policies. So how do you design those things, the guardrails and so forth? So to conclude, I'll say AI will definitely reshape the world we live in, but how it does that depends on all of you who are going to be our next generation of MSBA students. So I'll end there.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alok, for a wonderful presentation. For the next segment, I would like to hand over to Dr. Liu for explaining students more about AI's incorporation into the MSBA curriculum at Carlson.
Good morning. Let me share my slide. Okay. Good evening and good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being in this session. I am a professor in Carlson School of Management, Information Decision Sciences, same department as Alok. And I'm also MSBA academic director. Like Alok, my nephew went through the program and graduated. I will focus on Alok has give us a really good introduction of how a broader picture of how how we will envision future AI human collaboration. My focus will be more on how we can actually our programs integrate generative AI elements. But I like to start with a general question or general observation. As Dr. Alok Gupta already mentioned, generative AI is shaping the future of work. I would rather say maybe we're shaping the present of work. There are a few quotes I grabbed from recent news article. I didn't even need to look back more than a week. One the quote made by Goldman Sachs CIO Marco Argenti. He mentioned that the capability of AI models nowadays, their ability to plan and execute complex learning tasks, are on humans' behalf are beginning to mature. If you think about it, these are the kind of the things that human beings do. And he's predicting the managing AI agents as employees. This is a scary part. Managing AI human agents as employees, the challenge of 2025 this year. And another bold prediction made by NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang is, he said, in a lot of ways, the IT department of every company is going to be the HR department AI agents in the future. What does it mean? It means something similar, but he's more making a more brave prediction that again highlights the AIs will be part of the workforce with collaborating humans. So this really makes us all think about how we're going to position ourselves in the future as human workers and along with AI. And this next quote maybe make a little kind of give this passionate predictions a little bit kind of pause, is that this is done by Deloitte survey in this year, and they survey the companies that are deploying or using Gen AI solutions. They said they found that the path to sustainable Gen AI value balances passion, pragmatism, and patience. So it's going to take some time for us to get there. But what's being highlighted here is companies are are noticing the values created by Gen AI. They're rushing to do that, but there are many steps in between. For example, the data from the data infrastructure, the IT infrastructure, also the people. Are people willing to work, and are they equipped to work with Gen AI? Are they accepting that Gen AI as being part of the workflow? So they're all organizational process and cultural changes, as we have seen from many of the previous generation of disruptive technologies. So the question is, I'm assuming here you are thinking about your own future by pursuing a master level degree, is how should we think about or prepare for the future? I'm not in a good position to make any prediction, up and downs of specific job market. So what I'm here to say is the following. So based on what we've been seeing, the value creation potential of new generation AI technologies, we believe that those who can create, manage, and collaborate with AI are more likely to prevail in the economy of Gen AI. So that's why we have recently revised our curriculum, make several changes to prepare our students and for the future work. So this include several items I highlight here. We have made many more changes. First of all, we have actually in our program, our one-year program, created a new course called Generative AI for Business Application, taught by none other than our distinguished guest here, panelist here, Dr. Alok Gupta. So this course will be a comprehensive course and also hands-on course covering various concepts and application of Gen AI, from the understanding concept foundational models, fine-tuning, and RAG, which is retrieval augmentation, until all kinds of applications and issues challenges like what Dr. Gupta has mentioned, ethical issues, the value creations. Um, Coupled with that, we also redesigned our responsible AI course, recognizing that AI is such a powerful tool. It must be coupled with a lot of guardrails, and whether it's risk management framework, all the tools, protect the user privacy, guard against the biases in AI outputs, and also, of course, the technical aspect of it. So I've revamped that course to make it more rigorous and also more hands-on, so that you can leveraging tools and algorithms, maybe the explainable algorithms, maybe the less biased algorithms in your applications. We had a strong AI for natural language processing course. We have refreshed this course to incorporate. Actually, we had the large language model approaches for natural language processing. So this has been a popular course, and we also have in our big data analytics course introduced some of the latest frameworks like AWS Bedrock. So for those of you who may not know, so the Amazon's cloud computing is huge, is number one, and their answer to generative AI is AWS Bedrock that provide you cloud infrastructure for building GenAI applications. So we'll plan to introduce a toy use case for how you can leverage cloud computing and deploy a GenAI applications using the AWS Bedrock. Those are actually you cannot probably don't find in many other places. To kind of to highlight how AI has transformed the master education, especially mastering business analytics, we have launched AI for business track for students who want to emphasize their skill sets for AI. They can choose AI focused electives, so they can have a AI for business track to show off their expertise in this domain. Last thing, we have made many other changes. Our curriculums already, if you are interested, you can go to our website. There's especially a segment on AI related curriculum that highlights many other courses has pre-existing AI or generative AI elements. But one other thing we have done in the last actually this year, right? This year is we have opened up. We recognize some of you are hungry for experiences, especially for newest topics, and some of you even hungry for doing some exposed research. We have opened up opportunities for students to pursue independent study and guided research within the program. So these kind of the more flexible elective options allow students to work with the faculty advisor, so that you can have you still work independent, but you're guided by faculty advisor. For example, one of the current student is pursuing independent study actually with me. He proposed he wants to learn how to use generative AI to generate insights for the quizzes or the problem created by faculty to give the evaluation, whether these exams are they just being hard, some of these are hard, or are the problem ambiguous, or whether they are aligned with our course objectives. So I'm excited about the kind of the insights and the tools that he will learn from this study. So I want to, I keep my presentation brief. So we're very fortunate to be able to make those changes or incorporate some of the latest to prepare our students and prepare you guys for the future work. We are keep innovating because we have such a innovative and strong faculty. I highlight a few of those here. As you already see, you have already seen, the Professor Alok Gupta is a world-leading researcher on human AI collaboration. He's published some of the leading or the first few influential articles on the topic. Also, within our program, we have author Dr. Ravi Bapna, who authored one of the latest books on AI, is Maximize Well-Being in Age of AI. Some of you might have a chance to on one of these book tours. Be sure to say hi. Among our faculty is Dr. Mochen Yan. He's expert in algorithm decision making, and he's also done research on large language models, LLMs, large model. For example, one of interesting, fascinating topics he's done is how if you feed the outputs of large language model, use it for training data for large model, how they will impact the performance of such language model. He was able to demonstrate some really interesting findings that are quite relevant. And this gentleman here is also happens to be a creator of SmartPal, which is a large language model based learning digital learning assistant. Actually, we are piloting with several courses semester. The digital learning assistant has a built-in large language model based chatbot, and another faculty that in our department has real expertise in deep reinforcement learning. For some of you might know the deep learning and reinforcement learning are some of the foundational techniques that give rise to the generative AI in general. And Dr. Yichen Song has he solved some of the most interesting and complex problem using AI and generative AI. And Dr. Teng Ye is also a savvy large language model user for research, and she does research on how large language model impact learning, among other topics. And last but not least, so we also have experts in statistical learning, but Dr. Xuanbi has done research on, for example, how to protect privacy in large language model applications. These are just highlight a few of our faculty members who really are doing research and using large models on the day-to-day research. And the most amazing thing is we're very fortunate is they are all, what's shown here, they're all involved in our program in extensive ways. Here they show they either teach a course in our program, or several courses in the case of Dr. Mochen Yan, who are here, or like Dr. Ravi Bapna is the director of a Carlson Analyst Lab, which actually is the key pillars of our program is to give us the high quality experiential learning projects using machine learning and AI to solve real world problems. If you've been one of the earlier webinars, you will see some the examples in my response to some of the questions. I also highlight a link to the Carlson Analyst Lab, where you can see many of the interesting projects that the prior students have done and the impact they've made using data and analytics solve real world problems. That's all of my presentation, and we hope that the Carlson MSBA could be a game changer for you in your analytics AR journey. And I'll be happy to answer some of the questions afterwards.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Dr. Liu and Dr. Gupta. I hope that the students got an opportunity to learn a great deal of things about generative AI as well as its implications and its incorporation into the program curriculum of MSBA at Carlson. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Before we begin with the next segment, which is the questions which have come in from students, and there have been quite a lot which have come in. One of the questions which was put up is, are there 100% scholarships? The answer to that is yes. There are exclusive scholarships offered by Carlson School of Management, exclusively with Seed Global Education. There are 3 awards. One of them is worth up to 100% of the tuition fee. The total scholarship fund is worth 128K US dollars. The application deadline for this particular scholarship closes on 15th of March. The details for the same are put up on the chat as well. So if you are looking forward to pursuing business analytics at the Carlson School of Management in fall 2025, then this is your way ahead. All right. So we'll begin with the question and answer session with you, Susan. One of the questions which has come up and which students generally do want to know is, how can they craft a compelling application? What are the key ingredients which will make the application stand out? If you can highlight a bit on that.
Yeah, sure. So when we're looking at your application, we're kind of looking at a few different buckets. So we have the academics bucket. So we want to make sure that, this is a rigorous program, and we want to make sure that you are academically prepared, that you have a history of academic success, or if you started your undergraduate degree and it was a little bit rougher until you kind of got into your groove, that there's an upward trajectory in your academic performance. So that is something that we see in applications, and that would not be something that would be unusual. We would just ask you to explain that in your application. So in the academics bucket, again, we're looking at, what were your grades in your coursework? If you submitted a standardized test score, how did you do on your standardized test? Something that some folks consider is that if they are, kind of leaning more towards an average GPA, they might take a standardized test like a GRE or a GMAT to help kind of boost up that part of their application. So that's something you might want to consider. We're also looking to make sure that you've met the prerequisite requirements in calculus and programming, and the grades that you earned in those courses, again, just to ensure that you would be academically prepared for the coursework. The other bucket that we're looking at is really kind of, I'm going to put like technical skills, applied technical skills, and professional experience. Now we know this is an early career program, so we know that a lot of folks aren't going to be coming into this program with a depth of work experience, but we're really looking for you to highlight in an essay question and on your resume the types of projects or professional experiences that you have had where you've used technical skills, problem solving skills. If you have the extent that you have experience using any particular programming languages or working with data, we don't expect everybody to come in and be an expert, right, in programming or anything like that. Our program is meant to teach you and help you learn these things, but we do want you to have some sort of foundation in a professional setting or an academic setting on a project that's, with relative depth, and being able to work with data, feeling comfortable with that, and using some type of tools in that way. That's something that often applicants sometimes gloss over or just mention at a high level. So I would say be as clear as you can on your resume and your bullet points and in answering that particular question, because that not only helps us understand what your experience is, it also highlights your communication skills. And the communication piece would be the last bucket that we're looking at. So we have a virtual essay and interview experience. And based on feedback that we're also getting from our Career Center right now about what companies are looking for in the job market, communication skills is really something that's setting candidates apart more and more. So I would practice, crafting your story about why you want to do this program, what you're interested in, and also be able to tell an example of, how have you worked with data, or how have you been exposed to problem solving, and be able to say that and translate that into a way that somebody who doesn't have an analytics background would be able to understand. So that communication piece is something we look for as well.
Thank you so much for that, Susan. Dr. Gupta and Dr. Liu, there have been a couple of questions which have come up regarding the ethical considerations in the use of generative AI for various purposes, especially in the case when we are dealing with accounts data or financial data. If you can throw some light and let students know as to how does the Carlson's MSBA program take this into consideration?
I'll take a first shot, and Dr. Alok Gupta, feel free to add. I think, as I mentioned, we have a dedicated course on responsible AI. So this course covers topics like AI fairness, AI ethics, and AI, for social goods, and AI biases. Not just the ethical principles, but also the tools. And I know there are several other courses will also touch upon topic like I'm pretty sure Dr. Gupta's Gen AI course will touch on specific ethical challenges and issues associated with Gen AI. And I know some of the business essential course also touch upon the topics. So in general, this is emphasized throughout our program, also through our programs, scholarly policies on ethical use of AI in general, because we also do the experiential learning projects. And for these ones, you are practicing ethical AI in terms of data protection and in terms of preventing biases and so on. So you got actually being practicing those throughout the program.
I would just add to that by saying that, look, when it comes to data issues in specific domains, that is more of a regulatory framework. And why we don't have a regulatory course in our program, there are opportunities to take these courses in our accounting program and finance program. So if you are particularly interested in issues related to data integrity and usage of data in a particular domain, there are certainly opportunities to take courses in there. What we feel strongly about is that the biggest harm, the ethical issues that arise for Gen AI arise out of lack of data or lack of representative data. For example, almost all the data that Gen AI has been trained is from Western countries. And even from Western countries, it's data from a particular point of view, from a particular group of people. And so that produces huge biases in, uh, in producing outcomes. And those are the things that we are more worried about in terms of creating workable models for organizations as well as for general public. So that's our focus in the program. But certainly, if you are interested in issues of data integrity, security, those kinds of things, there are plenty of opportunities to take those classes as well.
A follow-up to that question, Dr. Gupta, as you have mentioned that the data which is being on which the AI model is being trained on, that is from a particular focal lens from a particular region of the world. Would it be possible for the Gen AI models to be self-evolutionary with the indulgence of quantum computing as well?
Well, I will let Jensen Huang talk about where quantum computing is at this point in time. As you know, it's been discussed in the news as well, where quantum computing right now is and the amount of quantum bits you need to make meaningful changes to Gen AI, we are not there yet. And, it will, you can never tell how fast technology develops in the future. So right now, people think that it's, at least couple of decades away. But, technology can leapfrog. Maybe Gen AI will figure out a way um, to expedite quantum computing. So we don't know that. But right now, the possibility of that happening in next decade is low. And certainly there are no jobs in those areas except for companies like maybe NVIDIA or companies that are sort of focusing on, most of the quantum computing companies are small startups right now. And so, startup jobs are not where most of our students go at this point in time. They mostly go to large companies. So, yeah, we are not targeting that as part of our curriculum as yet. I'm sure before I retire, Doug will bring that into the curriculum.
So, thank you so much for that, Dr. Gupta. All right, before I move on to my next question to Susan, a quick announcement to all the students who have joined us today. If you're looking forward to getting answers to any particular question which you have regarding your individual profile, feel free to book a one-to-one profile evaluation appointment with Carlson School of Management. The link for the same is put up in the chat. We would be also sending all this communication to you all via email later once the session ends. But if you're looking forward to booking an appointment, feel free to go ahead and hit the link and apply for that. All right. Susan, a couple of questions which do often come up from the students. First one being, what is it like? How is the student community or the student life in Minnesota and at Carlson School of Management? And another question which Corada is asking us is, what are the support services provided for international students at Carlson School of Management?
Great questions. We are really lucky in our analytics program to have a wonderful student community. Our program is, I like to call it like an ideal size. So it's not so large that you are just a number in the classroom, but it's not so small that you're not going to get the benefits of networking and working with folks from all over the country and all over the globe as well. Last year, we had around 80 students start our program, for example. So what does this mean? This means that your class sizes, you're going to be in class, and our professors like Alok and Professor Liu here, they're going to know you by name. They're going to know you individually. They're going to know you personally. And so you get that level of access to be able to connect with your faculty members and have that rich experience and that relationship with them. So it's a highly collaborative kind of community experience. And that's what we want that classroom experience to be alive. We want it to be interactive. We want it to be engaging, right? So that's one way. In terms of kind of student community, student support. So there are many extracurricular clubs that students can get involved with. And those often pair up with students in other masters and the MBA programs as well. So it's really nice because certainly you'll have your group of folks that are part of your MS business analytics community, but it'll allow you to kind of have that cross-program pollination with folks who might be in a different program. So you get to meet more members of the Carlson community. There's analytics focused clubs, there's industry speakers. So that's kind of part of like the student life area. In addition, there is an academic advising team, and we have a mental health counselor also available to meet with and support students as well. And so if you have questions about, I'm curious about this elective course, when would this be offered, or will this work for my schedule, or I'm kind of struggling a little bit with time management, can you kind of help me work through thinking through prioritization of things? We have people you can meet with to have those conversations one-to-one. And then finally, we have our career services team. And so that team is kind of one house with two different arms. And so one part of the house is career coaches. So again, you'll have an individual career coach, one-to-one. That person is dedicated to working with MSBA students in particular. So she's extremely knowledgeable about the industry, what the company hiring trends are, what folks are looking for, what recruiters are saying. And then the other side of the house of the Career Center is the business development team. And that team is going out, meeting with recruiters at companies and finding jobs as well. And so all of that kind of comes back in a feedback loop for students. And the career team offers support. Again, I mentioned the one-to-one coaching sessions, certainly sessions where, you'll get to meet with recruiters from companies, but then also prep sessions like mock interviews. How do I develop my LinkedIn profile in a way that, is effective? How do I use some tool? How do I use AI to actually optimize my profile and my resume, right? For some of these things. And then connections to alumni as well. So we can make those connections to alumni who might be working at an aspirational company of yours as well. So lots of different ways and dimensions across which we can support our students.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Susan. One last question. I know we are above board on time, 5 minutes. But one last question more so, Susan, if you can help the students with any last tips which you may have before they proceed ahead with their applications for the final deadline, any last tips, any last feedback which you can provide the students with?
Yeah, I would say meet with our team. So, we love to get to know students in the application process as well. We're happy to provide, everybody's profile is different. And so book a one-to-one appointment with my team. We also offer events as well, where we go into more details about the application process. We have application workshops. And we have just kind of more sessions where you can interact with folks on our team. And then also I would say, we pasted some links in as well to help you learn a little bit more about the experiential parts of the program and our alumni. We have some great alumni profiles as well on the website who have been international students just like all of you. And they've really gone into a great amount of detail that of describing, here's what my program experience is, here's what my background was. Here's what the program did for me. And so if you're curious about that, we can help you connect to alumni as well, or current students in the program if you want to be able to get their perspective, because, we talk about the program all day, but it's really helpful also, we know, for prospective students to talk to folks who have lived it recently or who are living it right now. And so we're happy to make those connections. But I would say, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to be curious. Curiosity is actually a wonderful trait that will help you a lot in this program. And so we're happy to be here to answer any of your questions. And March 15th is absolutely realistic. So if you're in your mind, you're thinking, oh no, I don't know if I can make that happen, just set up a meeting with our team and we'll help kind of walk you through the steps and help you prioritize what to work on first.
Thank you so much for that, Susan. I believe that would really help students get started with the application. Thank you so much, Dr. Gupta and Dr. Liu, for spending your evening as well as your morning with us today. I believe the students got to learn a great deal of things about the topics which they're looking forward to study on, and for your expert advice on the topic as well. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for hosting this. Thank you to all the students who were here.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you in
Sure.
Minnesota.
Yes. Thank you all.
So, thank you all. Yeah, bye-bye. Have a good day.
Goodbye.